Hey folks, it's Tom, your frugal prepper. I am heading out. I had a nice long late night of riding coasters last night, and heading up to take a look at a Yukon Denali. It's been on my channel before. It's the one that had the mega fuse that was melting down. We replaced that, and a lot of the problems went away for a while. The problems are starting to come back. I took a look at it a little bit ago. The mega fuse looks fine. But it's having a lot of issues. Lights coming on at night, door locks, like all of a sudden just like instrument cluster going out, radio rebooting type problems. And I looked at it and I'm like, man, I just don't know. It's like it's a basket case. And the most frustrating part is it seems like every time I look at it, it doesn't want to mess up. The driver drives away down the road with it, and it starts messing up. So it's hard to diagnose something that you can't see. And I'm no Ivan or Keith, right? I'm just Tom with a little 2-channel Krabby oscilloscope and a scan tool. So we're going to hook up some ground cables between the battery negative and the engine block, and the battery negative and the chassis, to make sure we got a good ground path, and just try to check things out. I looked at the alternator before I checked it for AC ripple. I made sure it was putting out good charging voltage, but again, it wasn't messing up at that time. So I don't know, unless you can catch it while it's messing up, it's kind of hard. But then I got an AC unit to go take a look at, a household AC unit. Fans running, compressor is not, but to see if the compressor is locked or if it just isn't starting, which is probably a bad capacitor. Brought a couple of 45.5s with me. Hopefully it doesn't take a 55.5. If it does, I'll probably throw a 45.5 in it. 70 to 80 degrees of phase should work as well. Phase variance. But I might have some headlights to put in today. I'm waiting on some struts to come in, hopefully today, for a hood. Just some gas struts that need put on. Just simple little things like that. Go out and do and make a little extra bucks. All right, I will kind of check in with you as the day progresses and let you know what I find. Drive this little section of road every day for nearly 7 years when I worked in this little town. This is one dangerous, overloaded stretch of 2-lane highway. They would like to widen this to 4 lanes all the way down through here, but there's some type of organism or something that lives right off of this turn here in the Cedar Bog Nature Preserve that exists nowhere else in the world, and if we widen the road it might make it go extinct or something, so they won't let us widen the road, so people kind of keep dying. There's a lot of head-on collisions coming down through here. They've kind of widened it as much as they can just to give it a nice, a wider berm and stuff, but yeah, this is one dangerous little stretch of road. I have had a Mercury Cougar, an 86 Mercury Cougar, straight out in the middle of this cornfield to the left of me right now. Didn't flip it upside down, but I slid off the road in the snow. And a guy with a truck came and pulled me out, truck and a winch. But yeah, this is where we're heading to good old Urbana, Ohio. So, quite an interesting town. Worked there for like 6-7 years. It was my first official computer job. I mean, I was a work study student and stuff before that, but my first time actually working on computers as a bench tech in the private sector. And I learned a lot. You know, that's what I did. I worked late. I stayed on Friday nights. I did whatever I had to do just to learn, and it served me well. I knew I didn't make great money there. I mean, I made okay money, but I also knew I worked a lot for free off the clock. But I consider that like my college education. I was in college before that. I dropped out of college to take that job, and it was the best decision I probably could have made, because college is a waste of time and money. Anyway, talk to y'all later. Whew, it's hot out today, but I think I got that Yukon Denali fixed. I didn't really get any footage of it. I'm just like out there in the hot sun troubleshooting. The battery was completely dead. It had been sitting there for a while, and we gotta turn here. Turn car. Okay. And so we went and got a new battery for it. The negative battery terminal looked a little questionable. We did that. A couple other eyelets where grounds went on to stuff looked a little questionable. I pulled the fuse box up out of it, inspected the wiring, see if there's any rodent damage down under there. Looked fine. No crusties in that. We took it for a test drive, and it immediately just started doing the same crazy stuff. Like the rear view mirror, or the side mirror, would just be like, ooh, and just like keep trying to go down. Was one of the complaints, and it was in the down position. And then the back glass was opening up. ABS and all the traction control stuff would come on and then go off. Check engine light came on, and it threw like 5 or 6 different codes. Temp sensor code, just weird stuff. And so I was like, like we pulled it back in while it was doing it. I was like, let me get the power probe out. And so I hooked the power probe up to the battery. I was getting a good reading, like 14.5 volts. The other thing we were noticing is the voltage gauge is going way down, coming back up, and when it would go way down, it'd do goofy stuff, and then it would stop doing goofy stuff when it came up. So I then clipped it over onto one of the AC lines on the ground side of the power probe, and I got like 10.1 volts. And I clipped it onto the firewall, and it would go up sometimes to like 11, but it was staying in the 10s. And so clip it back on the battery, it was fine. So I got the jumper cables, went from a ground on the firewall to the ground on the battery, and when I made contact, it let out some nice sparkage. So it was wanting to draw some amps through those cables. I'm guessing 20-30 amps. I didn't have an amp clamp with me to see. So we went up, we got us, even though that main ground strap between the firewall and the engine looked perfectly fine, I didn't have my multimeter with me to take a resistance measurement on it or whatever. We just went up and got another ground cable, put it between the firewall and the engine block, and we took it for a nice long test drive, and it did not do any of that goofy stuff. I think it's got a caliper or a brake hose that's bad on the front driver. We're going to look at that, but it's working. So they're going to drive it for a while and see if it keeps working. But when I checked the voltage drop after that between like the battery and the actual engine block, there was no voltage drop. So I think that might have been the problem all along. And it's just one of those cases where I could never catch it doing it to get the measurements that I needed to see. That's the most frustrating thing, when they're like, this thing's acting crazy, and then you have it for like a week, and you keep starting it, trying and playing with it, and it won't go crazy on you. So it took several hours, but we got it done. So now I'm on my way to try to fix a house AC unit if this truck guy gets out of my way. He's confused about where he's going, I think. He's in some kind of service truck. So we'll see if I can get a little video on this AC unit and what it's doing for you. Alright, so it made a sound when you turned it on. It was like the compressor was locked up. It just hummed, wouldn't start. Look at this capacitor, swollen out, leaking the castor oil out of it. Thing's just destroyed. I think it's probably popped the common loose, so it wasn't turning the fan either. I replaced it with one of these. This is what I had. This is a 35.5. These are 45.5s. It's close enough. It'll still make enough of a phase shift to start that motor fine. I may order a 35.5 and come back and change that back out at some point. But it's running now. I'll show you. Over here, we'll go ahead and kick the power back on. She starts right up now. If I can plug this in somehow. So I've already got a new capacitor in it. It's working. I'm gonna see if there's a hose here and see if we can go ahead and do a little service on it while we're at it. So there's another happy cool customer there. Trying to find one there just to close it out. So while I'm here, we have a case of a vacuum cleaner that won't suck. Filter's been changed, it's been emptied, it still won't suck. So we're gonna go figure out where the blockage is. Might have had too much cholesterol. Alright, so I've got that AC unit working. Now that took a 35.5 capacitor. I didn't have one, I had a 45.5. The phase shift's probably enough depending on the load, but since it had a 35 in it, I'm going to order a 35 and we'll replace it when it comes in. Of course, free of charge, just put the right one in it. But that 45 gets them cooled down for today. It's a hot day. And I got the vacuum cleaner all cleaned out and working. And then I went ahead and watered the tree. There's a new tree there and it hasn't rained in a while. So I just took care of some things there. And then now I'm heading to pick up my oldest son from work and take him home. I got a few $100 in my pocket, not bad for a day of working, and I do need a new multimeter. I've been looking at this little Velleman one that they have at the electronics store. They don't close until 5, it's a little after 4, I could probably make it over there. Might run up, take a look real quick, I don't know, we'll see. I might just get a cheap Harbor Freight one again. Just wanted something small that'll fit in my little toolbox. Because I took that one out a while back and I just didn't put it back in there, but it could have come in handy a couple times today. So I'm tired. I got the headlight bulbs to do, but the struts haven't come in yet. So I don't think I'm going to do that today. I'll see if I can maybe head over and do that tomorrow if the struts come today from the Amazon. But that's what's going on. Alright, so I need a 15mm wrench. And I went and looked. I don't have one in my truck toolbox, which that I don't keep much in. It's just like super like emergency. I happen to be in my truck and need a crescent wrench kind of toolbox. And I don't have an extra one in my spare wrenches in the shed. So I was looking at Harbor Freight and they just like there's only a couple sets that even have a 15, and you either have to pay like $40 for the set of extra long wrenches, or they just skip all the sizes. It's just not even worth buying. They either need to sell singles so that you can fill in the sets, or just quit selling wrenches. I mean, you know, if you can't make a complete set, just quit. You know, when you have a set of wrenches and you don't include a freaking 13 that you need to work on every domestic car, it's just ridiculous. But I thought about running to Lowe's because they have singles of the Craftsman now, but the Craftsman wrenches kind of suck. They really haven't changed since 1980. They were great when I was working on my 1980 Fairmont. Not so much in modern cars. So I'm just going to run up here, I think, and grab a Duralast from AutoZone, and then I'm just going to kind of reorganize some tools and do some stuff and get ready. The struts still haven't showed up, so I don't know if I'll do those light bulbs tomorrow or not. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Alright, so some stuff I got today. I stopped at a garage sale and I found these. A nice set of Klein Tool wire stripper crimpers. I like the ones that have like little colors right here for the gauge size, but I can deal without that. These are a nice set of crimper strippers. I Was thinking about getting some of the Stanley Proto ones anyway, because I have those cheap ones. I had to crimp some wires today, and these things are cheap. These will be a lot nicer. So I gave $2 for these at a garage sale. They're in pretty good shape, so I'm happy with that. I went by the Harbor Freight because my electronics store that I like to go to is closed. I just picked up a cheap Harbor Freight multimeter. I don't know. I ended up getting something else instead. I might just take this thing back next time I'm there, because they didn't have a free coupon on them or anything. It was like $6 and something. So I was at AutoZone and I saw this guy. It's an Innova hands-free digital multimeter. It just has like the basic settings on it here. It's got, you know, DC volts. Is that AC volts? Let's see. It's hard to see in this light. Yeah, so it looks like it's got like an AC volt in this red that's hard to read, and then yellow DC volt. It's got ohms. It's got a diode checker. That's mostly just all you're ever gonna need. It'd be nice to have something with a capacitance tester in it too for some things, but I could live without that. It's nice and flat. It'll fit my toolbox well. And this was $19.99. So I decided I made enough money today picking it up. And this will just be dedicated to this toolbox so I don't forget my meter when I need one. Then at Vance, I went ahead and picked up this Duralast nice long pattern 15 combo wrench. I just need a 15 combo for my box. I don't think I ever had one in there, and I'm tired of trying to use a 5/8 and risking rounding off bolts. I had a tough one today to get out of the engine block on that Yukon. Luckily the owner had a 15 to loan me, so I just decided to pick one up because I just don't have a 15 combo, or that ratcheting gear wrench set that I got. It skips 15, and I use 15s quite a bit on domestic stuff. So this is a nice wrench. This is $9.49. I know a used tool store that has wrenches, big buckets of wrenches you can dig through for $1 a piece, but you know, they're never open. And I like this because I like Duralast, and I found that their tools are really decent tools. They work well, and most of them look identical to Gear Wrench these days. So I think Gear Wrench might be making their branded tools, but the nice thing is, even Advance, if you have a gear wrench, they're like, oh, well, you had to buy that here and have your receipt for us to exchange it. With Duralast, if I break it, there's like 2 auto zones in every small town, right? And I can go exchange it. I'm at AutoZone all the time anyway. So if I break it, I just take it there and exchange it. I think that works well for me. You know, I'm surprised that, like, even professional mechanics, you know, a lot of shops buy parts from AutoZone, and they have corporate accounts. So you can always just be like, hey, when you bring in that starter, bring me another 15 to exchange out, right? Like, you don't have to wait on a tool truck, and you don't have to go there. Just a thought. I went ahead and got some of these eyelets because we had to buy some today for that owner. I wanted to get a couple different sizes to keep in my box, so I just got a couple different sizes of these larger eyelets. And then I got me a new nail brush. My old one's getting kind of worn out. These things are awesome. You just put a little bit of lava soap, like scratch your nails on the lava soap bar and get some lava soap in there, and scrub it with these red nail brushes from AutoZone. They're like $1 or $2. And it will just make your nails look like you're not even a mechanic. And you can also scrub down in all the calluses with it real good and get your hands like really nice and almost perfectly clean, which is important because I have a desk job during the day. Went ahead and picked up one of these little cheapy universal wobble extension things up at the front for a couple bucks, just because I don't have one in my mobile box, and I know I'm going to come across needing one day. It's not a decent one at all, but it'll work. You know, it's just a basic wobble. So, you know, I'll do the standard, you take this off, you wrap a couple layers of electrical tape around here so that it can only bend so much. And that's what I do with them. And I picked me up another battery terminal cleaner. I use these for all kinds of cleaning stuff off other than battery terminals, but these little bristles here on this part always wear out and kind of get bent over after a time, so picked up another one of those. And the other thing that came from Amazon today was this book, this little case to put my netbook in. So I'm hoping that'll fit. It's going to be a close one, but I think it'll squeeze down in there okay. If not, I'll return it, but it's supposed to be for this size netbook, and just have something to kind of keep that and the charger together in. I think it'll come in handy rather than just carrying it around. And I think this was like, it was like $8.47 or something on Amazon. So that's what I bought. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of put this stuff in my box and organize it, and then go in and watch some YouTube and relax and see what tomorrow brings for me to fix.